Nanjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhakti Tattva Vivek deliberations on pure devotion. We are on the third chapter of Bhakti Tattva Vivek, and the third chapter speaks about the natural characteristics of bhakti. When we say the natural characteristics of bhakti, the natural characteristics of pure bhakti. So we began this discussion in the last class, and Shuddha Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti has 6 characteristics. Kleshagni, Shubhada, Mokshalagutakrit, Sudurlabha, Sandranand Visheshatma, Shri Krishna Akarshani. And in the last class, we discussed Kleshagni. So, other 5. Before that, we'll once again read the invocation verse of chapter 3, just to begin today's session. Yes. Shuddha Bhakti Swabhavasya Prabhavanyat Padashrayat Sadaiva Labhyate Jivas Tam Chaitanya Aham Bhaje. I worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tam Chaitanyam Aham Bhaje. By taking shelter of his feet, Yad Padashrayat, the living entity forever obtains. Sadeva Labhate Jivas. What? The potency issuing from the very nature of unalloyed devotion. Shuddha Bhakti Swaha Vasya Prabhavan. So by taking shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the living entity forever obtains that potency which is coming from the very nature of unalloyed devotion. So we saw that these 6 characteristics are there, 6 symptoms are there. Kleshagni, Shubhada, Mokshalaguratid, Sudurlabha, Sandranand, Visheshatma, and Shri Krishna Akarshani. And in sadhana stage, first 2 symptoms appear In Bhava stage, first 4 symptoms, there is more Kleshagni happening. Please remember that Kleshagni continues even in Bhava stage. Because there are certain kleshas which are very, very fine and subtle, and they get clarified or they get purified at the stage of Bhava. And Kleshagni contains complete destruction only in the Prema stage. So there is a graduation. Even the Shubhadha, the qualities we attain at the end of sadhana bhakti. And when we are in bhava bhakti, more of these qualities manifest. And in prema bhakti, the qualities come to the fullest degree like that. So there is a gradual evolution of these characteristics happening in the different stages of bhakti. This is very important for us to remember. So we have seen Kleshagni, we have gone through the entire Kleshagni, kleshas of 3 types, Papa, Papa Bija, and Avidya. And both Prarabdha and Aprarabdha, how Bhakti destroys. First reference is from the Devahuti's prayers, and then the Padma Puran. And then Papa Bija is also destroyed, that is from the Bhagavatam. And then there is Avidya. Avidya is destroyed, that is from the Sanat Kumar's preaching to Prathu, Yatpada Pankaja. So we have seen the Kleshagni in the last class. Now today we will see the second characteristic, Shubhadha, bestowal of auspiciousness. Okay. Bhakti is auspicious by nature, Shubhadha. Here Bhakti, when we refer, again it is Shuddha Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:127. Shubhani Prinanam Sarva Jagatam Anuraktata Sadguna Sukam Itya Adin Akhyatini Manishibi. Scholars, Manishinibi, define true auspiciousness, Shubhani, as possessing love for all living entities, Prinanam, and becoming an object of affection for all living entities, Sarva Jagatam Anurakta, as well as possessing all good qualities, Sadguna, happiness, Sukam, and other similar auspicious achievements. It Adinya. So Shubha, auspicious, means there is 4 things. Prinanam, Sarva Jagatam Anurakta, Sadguna, and Sukam, and others. So basically, Shubha means these 4 things. The Padma Puran explains what is meant by possessing love for all living entities and being the object of affection of all living entities. So the next verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is being quoted. First to explain what is Prinanam and Sarva Jagatam Anurakta. So both have been dealt in this verse. Yenarchito haristena tarpitani jagatyapi rajyanti jantavastatra jangama stavara api. Those who have worshipped Sri Hari, Yena Archita Hari. Yena means those who have, Archita means those who have done Archana, worship. Of who? Hari. Have satisfied the entire universe. Tena Tarpitani Jagatya Api. They have worshipped, they have satisfied the entire universe. Yasmin Tushte, Jagat Tushte. The Dhruva Maharaj in the Mahabharata, Durvas Muni's pastime is there when they visited the Pandavas. Therefore, all living entities, both animate and inanimate, Jangama Stavarapi, love them. So everyone falls in love with such a devotee. Why everyone falls in love? Because that devotee is in love with everyone. He possesses love for all living entities. And that's why all living entities become an object of affection for him. So this is how it goes. The purport is that those who are devoted exclusively to Hari Bhajan love everyone without any envy. Therefore, others also love them. It's a very interesting uh, uh, pastime that one Dhruva Maharaj returned back to the kingdom. All the Praja and even the king, Uttanapad, came to welcome Dhruv because now he had perfected his life and he had attained the darshan of the Lord. And his mother, Suruchi, his stepmother, who had envied Dhruv and she had spoken harsh words, even she bowed down. Even she bowed down to Dhruva. So, why? Because Dhruv had become a devotee now. So, everyone bows down. Everyone, because now Dhruv was free from that envy because he had attained pure love for the Lord and for all living entities. So, it was not that Suruchi had attained devotion to Hari, and that's why. Because the devotion which Dhruva possessed in his heart, that made Suruchi bow down. So that pastime is there, that verse is there in the Bhagavatam, will not go into it. In devotees, all varieties of good qualities develop naturally. They develop naturally. There is no extraneous endeavor to be done. And please remember here, when they develop naturally means that one takes up to Shuddha Bhakti. One takes up to Shuddha Bhakti. We have to remember that. This is easily verified by examining the lives of the devotees. In this regard, it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam as well as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.29. So practically, if you see, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is quoting 27, 28, 29, one after the other, same verses, and is giving his own understanding and realization. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvairgunastatra samasate sura harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathenasati dhavato bahi. Those who possess undeviated and exclusive bhakti. Now here again we have to mark yasya asti, in whom there is what? Bhakti. What kind of bhakti? Bhagavati akinchana, akinchana bhakti. So those who possess akinchana bhakti, it is mentioned. So bhaktyabhas, by practicing bhaktyabhas, these qualities will not come to full. There might be qualities to very small degree, but the qualities which Shubhada here we are speaking, they only manifest when one takes up to Uttama Bhakti. And with sadhana, as the sadhana matures, then these qualities more and more shine. So it's very important for us to remember that it is akinchana bhakti. For Bhagavan become the residence of all the demigods and all good qualities. Sarver gunes tatra samasate sura. How can such great qualities exist in non-devotees? Harava bhaktasya kuto mahat gunat, whose illicit desires compel them to run after sense. Manorathena asati dhavato bhai. So we'll again not go into the detailed discussion which is there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu regarding this verse. We can refer to the 6 characteristics of pure devotion series which is there in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu for that. The qualities of compassion, truthfulness, humility, detachment, spiritual awareness, and so forth appear only in those hearts in which bhakti has arisen. So again here, what does this statement mean? When we say bhakti has arisen, anyone? What does it mean? What does this statement mean? What does it mean, this statement? Anyone? If you want, I can show you. The qualities of compassion, humility, detachment, spiritual awareness, and so forth appear there is some technical problem with the, yeah, and so forth appear only in those hearts in which bhakti has arisen. So what does here bhakti mean? What it is referring to here? Anyone? Govinda Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna. Here, bhakti means Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service.
Uttama Bhakti here.
Uttama Bhakti, yes.
Bhakti means here Uttama Bhakti only. So not Mishra Bhakti. Even by great endeavor, these qualities do not appear in those hearts which are preoccupied with desires for sense gratification. So as long as the Tatastha Lakshana are not fulfilled, that is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Because if you have Anya Abhilasha, then you will do karma. So there will be karma avaran happening. So the bhakti is there, but that bhakti is not Shuddha. So when the bhakti is not Shuddha, then even if you endeavor, these qualities will not appear. Very heavy statement. Through happiness, though happiness is included within auspiciousness, it is being reviewed separately. Now, after mentioning about, the first thing, now Sadguna has been discussed here now. We saw that Prinanam, Sarva Jagat Anuraktan, and Sadguna we saw. Now Sukham, fourth, happiness has been discussed. By nature, bhakti bestows all auspiciousness. Srila Rupa Goswami has written that the happiness of the conditioned soul can be divided into three categories: Vaishayika Sukha, Brahma Sukha, and Aishwarya Sukha. I sometimes call this as Jadananda, Brahmananda, and Premananda or Sevananda. These are the three types of happiness. Vaishayika Sukha is all varieties of mundane pleasure that are found within this material world. The 18 types of mystic perfection and heavenly enjoyment are also considered Vaishayika Sukha. Upon realizing that mundane pleasure is ultimately distressful and temporary, the endeavor to eradicate it through the process of neti is called Vatirek, the principle of negation. After enjoying material happiness, then you negate it, because you know that is a cause of distress. They are in Gyan now. So this is the process of negation of the Gyanis. The impersonal pleasure derived from these Vatirek efforts, elimination of all mundane feelings and imagining oneself to be one with the unchangeable Brahman, is called Brahma Sukha. Very nice definition of Brahma Sukha. What is Brahma Sukha? The happiness derived from taking permanent shelter of Bhagavan, who possesses all opulences in full, is called Aishwarya Sukha. So what is Aishwarya Sukha is being defined here. By nature, Hari Bhakti bestows all varieties of happiness. According to one's specific qualification and desires, it bestows either Vaishayika Sukha, Brahma Sukha, and Aishwarya Sukha. So now he gives the reference for that. Of course, all this is there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and the same verses have been referred here by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Siddhayah Paramashcharya Muktir Muktishcha Shashvati Nityam Cha Paramanandam Bhavet Govinda Bhaktita. The 8 type of mystic yoga perfection. Siddhaya Paramashcharya. All varieties of material enjoyment, bhakti, the happiness of impersonal liberation, mukti cha shashvati, and the supreme bliss, Paramananda. As I said, Sevanand, or bhakti, happiness derived in devotion, can all be achieved by devotion unto Sri Govinda. Bhavet Bhakti, Govinda Bhakti. So this is the reference given for all these 3 kinds of happiness. The next reference is here. Bhuyo piyache devesha tvai bhakti dridastu me ya mokshante chatur varga Falada Sukada Lata. O Lord of the demigods, Devesha. Deva means the Devtas. Isha means the Lord of the Devtas. So that is how Deva and Ish become Devesh. I repeatedly beg for the boon of attaining exclusive devotion unto you, by which, according to their specific qualification, Bhuyopi yache Devesh, Twai Bhaktir Dridastu me. Some devotees obtain the fruits of wealth, religiosity, sense gratification, and liberation. Ya mokshanta chaturvarga. While others obtain the fruit of happiness of possessing love for you. Falada Sukada Lata. The purport is that bhakti is capable of bestowing all types of happiness. But the unalloyed devotees, that is the pure devotees, considering the pleasure derived from sense gratification and impersonal liberation to be insignificant, search exclusively for prema sukha, the happiness of possessing love for the Supreme Lord. So we should be very careful that if we get stuck in our Namapra chanting, at the most it can give us wealth, religiosity, and sense gratification till heavenly pleasure. If we chant Namabas, then Namabas can give liberation. But only Shuddha Nam can give us Krishna Prem. So we should strive and endeavor to cross this stage of Namaprad and Namabas, and then from Namabas come to Shuddha Nam. Otherwise, we will miss the journey, get caught up in these other fringe benefits. Without the help of bhakti, the paths of jnana and karma are incapable of yielding any results. The path of karma gives swarg. So because the bhakti is present in that path of karma yoga, the element of bhakti, even in the path of jnana with the goal liberation, bhakti is one of the elements among the 20 items of elements which the jnanis practice. So because bhakti is present, it is that bhakti which bestows the fruit of their jnana. Jnana on its own cannot bestow fruits without Bhakti Devi being present in it. So that is the point being made. Hence, in any condition, happiness cannot be obtained without Bhakti. So this is regarding quite short discussion regarding the 4 qualities Shubhada, Shubhani Prinanam, Sarva Jagatam Anurakta, Sadguna Sukham. And the references from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So, any questions, any clarifications up till now? Anyone has? Okay, so now let's go to the third characteristics. Moksha Laguta Krit. Moksha means liberation. Lagu means it makes it seem insignificant. Laguta Krit. So bhakti, Uttama bhakti at the stage of bhava makes moksha completely insignificant. Okay, let us see. By nature, bhakti renders the conception of liberation, mukti, insignificant. It is said in the Naraj Pantratra and the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.134. Hari Bhakti Mahadevya Sarva Muktadi Siddhaya Bhuktayas Chadbhutastasyash Chetikavad Anuvartita. The various kinds of perfection, Siddhaya, headed by mukti and the entirety of mundane pleasure. Sarva mukti adi bhukti yascha adbhuta. Follow behind the goddess of Hari Bhakti. Hari Bhakti Mahadevya. Hari Bhakti is it's feminine. Bhakti Devi she is. So they follow behind the goddess of Hari Bhakti. Hari Bhakti as her maid servants. Chetikavat anuvartate, they follow. So the example is given just like the king's daughter, who is a princess in the palace. She has many servants, maid servants, to take care of her, combing her clothes, combing her hair, dressing her, taking out for walks. She has her friends. Like that, she has many, many assistant maid servants, the princess. But sometimes, suppose the princess is very disturbed at heart and she suddenly runs out of the palace in the forest. So when she goes out, all the maid servants, they also just follow the princess. Similarly, Bhakti Devi, is followed by all these maid servants. What are these? Mukti Adi, Siddhi, Bhukti, all these, they just follow her. Chetikavat, Anuvartate. That's what is being said. Srila Rupa Goswami has also said this very beautifully. So the next verse of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, or previous verse, is being quoted. Manag eva prarudhyayam hridaye bhagavat rato purushartastu chatvaras trinyante samantata. Only when one understands the fourfold achievements of economic development, religiosity, sense gratification, and liberation, purushartastu chaturvaras, to be very insignificant, manageva prarudhyayam, can it be accepted that unalloyed devotion is appearing within him? Hridaya Bhagavat Rato. They consider them what Trinante Samantata. So, when one comes to the stage of Bhava Bhakti, then what to speak the post of temple president, even the post of Brahma is completely insignificant. And then what to speak liberation also, they completely consider it insignificant, because that is the kind of relish and bliss and nectar they are deriving in the execution of bhakti. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a hint of this kind of experience in one of his bhajans. Naam bina kuchi nahi chauda tribhuvane. There is nothing to be achieved in the 14 planet systems except the holy name. So the Naam Ras, what he is relishing at that stage, where Bhava Bhakta, he feels there is nothing to be achieved for me in the 14 planetary systems. Nothing. So then, when one says like this, that everything is insignificant, then you can understand that he has developed unalloyed devotion in him. Now, since last many, many weeks, you all have been attending this series of Bhakti Tattva Vivek. I have a question. We have got a very clear understanding of Bhakti Abhas. Bhakti Abhas it is, not Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. So, at what stage does Bhakti Abhas turn into Shuddha Bhakti? At what stage? Within Sadhana Bhakti, there is Shraddha to Asakti, there is Bhava Bhakti, which is Bhava, and there is Prema Bhakti, which is Prema. So there are 3 stages of Bhakti. Sadhana stage, which is divided into Vaidhi and Raganuga. And you can say in general, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivritti, Nishtha is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and Ruchi Asakti is in Bhava, Raganuga Sadhana. And there is Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So at what stage does Bhakti Abhas turn into Shuddha Bhakti? Anyone would like to try? Anyone? Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. If I'm not wrong, I think it's Vedi Sadhana Bhakti.
At Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, what will happen?
I mean, the Shuddha Bhakti will start sprouting there, or his Drudhata will be very firm and.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Okay, we'll all hold on. You'll all have to become a little more inquisitive. When we go to the next chapter on the qualifications to, take up to Uttama Bhakti, there very elaborately Bhaktivinoda Thakur discusses. Till then, just hold on. Always it is good to have some suspense so that, we are eager to know. Okay. So unalloyed devotion is appearing within him when we can understand. So here it is, the hint is very clear. Here it is Bhava Bhakti. When one attains to come to the stage of Bhava Bhakti at the end of Sadhana Bhakti, then, his devotion has become unalloyed, pure. That's what is being hinted here. So let us see when we come to the last chapter, which you are going to start very soon. Tomorrow we are going to start that. Now the fourth characteristic, Sudurlabha, extremely rare. So any questions on Moksha Lagurudakrit is very small. He keeps it quite simple and small. Although in Bhakti Rasamrita, the quite elaborate discussion is there. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur has kept it briefly. So any questions, any clarifications anyone has about this topic? Up till now, what we have discussed? Okay, then we'll go to the next one now. The fourth characteristic, Sudurlabha, extremely rare. Attainment of Harin Bhakti is extremely rare, Sudurlabha. Now, when we say attainment of Hari Bhakti is extremely rare, again, it refers to Shuddha Bhakti. Bhava Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. Bhakti everyone can practice, but Shuddha Bhakti and especially Bhava Bhakti, because Bhava Bhakti is a characteristic of Sudurlabha is Bhava Bhakta characteristic. So this characteristic manifests at the stage of Bhava. So to attain Bhava is very, very, very rare. So the reason now being discussed, of course, a very elaborate discussion is there in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami's verses and Jeev Goswami's commentary and Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary and Prabhupada's points on it. And that you'll have to refer to the Nectar of Devotion series. But here, whatever Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking, I will only discuss that there. Sadhana oger ana sanger alabhya suchiradapi harina chasva adyeti dvida sa swad sudurlabha. So why it is rare? There are two reasons. There are two reasons for Hari Bhakti being so rare. Hari Bhakti means here, please remember, it is Bhava Bhakti. Okay. First, it cannot be achieved in spite of engaging in many varieties of sadhana. Sadhana oger means if you practice Bhakti Yoga and you are practicing Karma Yoga, you are practicing Gyan Yoga, you are practicing many types of sadhanas, then you will not attain. You have to only practice one sadhana, that is the sadhana of Ananya Bhakti. If you try many varieties of sadhana, then it is difficult. So many varieties of sadhana for a long period of time, as long as one is bereft of firm faith and unwavering persistence. Please mark this. Secondly, Sri Hari does not easily grant bhakti unto him. Now, when bhakti means here, again, it is bhava bhakti. Even though one may have engaged in anasanga yukt sadhana, spiritual practice endowed with unflinching attachment. So we have practiced sadhana bhakti one pointedly and no other process, karma and gyan, no. We have practiced sadhana bhakti, gyan, karma, the anavritam, and with deep attachment. And with our sadhana practice, we have gone to Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti. This is in our hands. Sadhana bhakti is in our hands to go up to the higher stages. So from Nishtha, with our efforts, of course, with the mercy of Guru Krishna and the association of devotees, we can from Nishtha go to Ruchi, and from Ruchi go to Asakti. And we are now attached. Asakti is deep attachment for Krishna. Please remember. Unflinching attachment. So it doesn't mean that now because I've attained Asakti, the next stage is Bhava, I'll attain Bhava on my own. No. Because Bhava Bhakti is bestowed up by Krishna. And Krishna doesn't easily bestow Bhava Bhakti. What is the reason you think Krishna doesn't bestow Bhava Bhakti? What is the reason? Anyone? What is the reason you feel that Krishna doesn't bestow Bhava Bhakti? Anyone here? Why does Krishna not bestow Bhava Bhakti? Reena Mataji has first raised her hand. Yes, Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Dandapranam Prabhuji. Actually, after bestowing Bhava stage, then the Krishna has to listen his devotees. मतलब devotee they take the orders of devotee. Like it's like that.
Krishna comes under the control of his devotee, pure devotee.
Yes.
That is the reason. Yes. Wonderful. Good. The word asanga implies expertise in bhajan. Even if one attains expertise in bhajan, still Sri Krishna doesn't easily grant bhava. Without expertise in bhajan, no spiritual practice can grant Hari Bhakti. Please mark this point. As long as we don't become very expert in our bhajan, no spiritual practice is going to grant Hari Bhakti. Hari Bhakti again means Bhava Bhakti here. So we should become expert in chanting the holy names. Today, I was sitting with one devotee and chanting, and the way he was sitting and chanting, in a very deep meditation, and he had a picture of the deities, and there was mentioned that, "Oh Srila Prabhupada, oh my dear Guru Maharaj, I have committed millions and millions of offenses while chanting the holy name. Please give me the strength that I chant attentively your holy names without committing offenses, and give me the knowledge, sambandh gyan, by which I will become free from these offenses and take your pure names." So that was a prayer and meditation. So I was also very inspired, and I was also able to sit with him and chant my rounds. That we should work on how we can chant our rounds attentively. Otherwise, our spiritual practices, years and years will pass, but we will not attain any much results. Please remember that. Now, this statement of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, was really like a very inspiring statement. Some might get discouraged, but it is, we should see it in a positive perspective. By executing sadhana with expertise in bhajan for a long period of time. So there are two things said. You should execute sadhana with expertise. Expertise means to attentively chant, attentively do your bhajan, and you have to do bhajan for a long period of time. And after offenses of both the holy name, Nam Aparadh, and Vaishnav Aparadh have been dispelled. So you should become free from Nam Aparadh and Vaishnav Aparadh, because these are the major obstacles in our bhajan. By the mercy of the Lord, unalloyed devotion, Lord's Swarup Shakti, which establishes one in the knowledge of his constitutional identity, arises in his heart. So the constitutional identity, Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nityadas, but our Swarupa is revealed at the stage of Bhava. So this will happen only by executing sadhana with expertise for a long period of time, and when both Nam Aparadh and Vaishnava Aparadh have been dispelled. So somehow we have been discussing these two important subjects. One is Vaishnavinda, criticism of Vaishnavas, and one is the Harinam Chintamani Nam Aprad, chapter 12. So we've been regularly holding these seminars so that these two are the major obstacles in our sadhana. And the other part is executing sadhana with expertise and doing it for long periods of time. That is all in our hands. Even if somebody is executing sadhana with expertise and he's performing it for long periods, if he is not free from Vaishnava Aprad and Nam Aprad, then also his bhajan is not going to 55. Please remember that. Jnanata sulabha muktir bhuktir yagyadi punyata seyam sadhana sahastre hari bhakti sudurlabha. This is the verse, and this verse, very nice commentary has been given by Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti, and Prabhupada has given nice points which will require at least one class. So it is there in the Nectar of Devotion discussion. You can have a look at it. But let us see what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said. By the cultivation of impersonal knowledge, one can easily obtain liberation. Jnanata sulabha mukti. And by performance of sacrifices and other pious activities, one can easily obtain sense gratification. Mukti yagyati punyata. But despite performing innumerable sadhanas, seyam sadhana sahastrer, one cannot achieve Hari Bhakti so easily. Hari Bhakti sudurlabha. So here, my question is, here what is mentioned Hari Bhakti, what it refers to, what this Hari Bhakti exactly refers to. Anyone? What does here Bhakti refer to? Hari Bhakti or Bhakti refer to? Yes, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It's Shuddha Nam. Hare.
No, whether it is Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti or Prema Bhakti, you can, among the three, which stage of Bhakti it is referring to?
I think it's Prem Bhakti.
Prema Bhakti, okay. Reena Mataji.
Hare Krishna. It is Bhava Bhakti.
Bhava Bhakti, yes. Bhava Bhakti is Sudurlabha. Bhava Bhakti is rare. And we know that one of the characteristics of Bhava Bhakti is Sudurlabha. Bhagwan does not easily grant bhakti unto him. Again, here bhakti means Bhava Bhakti, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So next verse is given. So here it will become clear. Rajan patir guru malam bhavatam yadunam devam priya kulapati vacha kinkarova astva evam manga bhajatam bhagavan mukundo mukti dadati karhachit sma na bhakti yogam. Sukdev Goswami said, my dear king Rajan, Lord Mukunda himself was the protector and spiritual master, Gurur, worshipper devotee, deity, Daivam, well-wisher, and the head of the Pandavas, Kulapati, and the Yadu dynasty. Sometimes he even became their obedient servant, Kinkaro. It is a matter of great fortune because Bhagwan easily grants liberation, Muktim dadati karhachit, to those engaged in bhajan unto him, but he doesn't easily award prema for him. Smana bhakti yogam. So here it is mentioned prema. Prema is also bhava bhakti. Bhava bhakti is the bud of prema. So both, which is far superior to liberation. So mukti he'll grant, but he will not grant easily what? Bhava bhakti. So that's the point here. Of course, there is a quite elaborate discussion which is required here. But again, I don't want to take Nectar of Devotion, that whole series, because that will take another 1 or 2 classes. You all can refer to that. In his commentary to this verse, Srila Jiva Goswami comments, Tasmad asangenapi krite sadhana bhute sakshad bhakti yoge sati yavat phala bhute bhakti yoge gad asaktir na jayate tavan na tadati ityartha. Those who engage in bhajan unto the Supreme Lord by executing the 9 limbs of bhakti are not granted unalloyed devotion. Tasmad asangenapi krite sadhana bhakti sakshat bhakti yoga sati. By Bhagwan, until they develop strong attachment, gad asaktir na jayate, for activity executed on the platform of ecstatic emotion, which is the fruit of perception of one's eternal identity. So I mentioned that this bhakti refers to bhava bhakti. So here it is given by Jiva Goswami. So ultimately, before Krishna bestows, he will test his bhava bhakta. If I give bhava, then I'll have to be completely controlled. So Krishna will give, but after some time he'll give. It doesn't mean that he'll not give, he'll give. For one who is having qualified bhava bhakti, Krishna will definitely give. That is the point. Until that time comes, one's devotion is simply Chaya Bhakti Abhas. I hope the point is now clear for everyone. We have discussed Chaya Bhakti Abhas in the last chapter. So in the sadhana stage, our bhakti still is not Anyabhilashita Shunyam and Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam. So it is Abhas Bhakti and specifically Chaya Bhakti Abhas. And till then it goes like that, and at a certain particular point when we come to a stage, then we are qualified to attain bhava bhakti, because the conditioning of the subtle body is there. At bhava bhakti, one sarup is revealed, and now one is liberated and one is not affected by the modes. So the conditioned nature now has no influence. Now the constitutional nature of the soul is fully manifested. That is why Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dridavrata. So all the time he is able to do that. So that is the point. So I hope this is very, very clear to all the devotees, about that. Until then, our bhakti is Chaya Bhakti Abhas. If you have any questions, you can always clarify. Okay, the 5th characteristic. So any questions about Sudurlabha? Any questions anyone has? Sudurlabha is it's a very important topic to be also understood. Any questions, any clarifications? Okay, then let's go to the 5th characteristic, Sandrananda Visheshatma. Sandrananda. Anand is happiness or bliss, but Sandranand means condensed bliss, composed of special condensed bliss. Vishesh means special. Today, sometimes we say, Aaj khane mein kuch vishesh hai. There is some special item, we say. So Vishesh, composed of special condensed. Sandra means condensed bliss. So Bhava Bhakti, one of the characteristic is this. Bhakti produces intense bliss. Shuddha Bhakti. Previously, it was mentioned that Bhagwan had an eternal swarup of consciousness and bliss. And the Jiva was a particle of consciousness and bliss like the rays of sun. Thus, the Jiva to some extent possesses bliss and consciousness in his nature. Normally, people think of bliss as material happiness. But if one were to gather all material happiness together, it would be meager in comparison to spiritual bliss. So the spiritual bliss is like an ocean. And the material happiness in this world, whatever we experience, whatever it is, the earthly pleasure or the heavenly pleasure or the pleasure in the higher planets, it's completely like a small drop. That we have to have faith. The bliss in the material world is extremely limited and temporary. Spiritual bliss is condensed or intense substance. Bhakti is the very form of that intense bliss. The jiva has no bliss to compare to that of bhakti. It is natural to the jiva. The jiva is Satchidananda. That is his nature. The happiness of Brahman is nothing in comparison to the bliss of Brahman. Since the bliss of Brahman is the undifferentiated happiness produced by thinking of the opposite of material happiness. So Brahma Sukha, just to give an example, just like somebody is drowned in the ocean and he's been always attacked by sharks and always being swallowed by them, birth after birth, bhava roga. So he's been always slaughtered, and he's been taking bodies in this material ocean. Jan mrityu jara vyadi, jan mrityu jara vyadi. So the Brahma Sukh is what? When somebody comes out of the ocean and sits on the bank and is now basking in the sun. No more birth, no more death, no more disease, no more old age. So he is free from the material misery. That's it. And that freedom, somebody who's now, who had been drowning in the ocean, who is now sitting on the beach, he'll feel happy. So Brahmanand is something like that. It is simply the bliss of the Brahman that is opposite of material bliss. That's it. That bliss is not eternal for the jiva, but is only the contemplated happiness opposite to matter. So that is Brahmanand. So Rupa Goswami composes this verse. Brahmanando bhavet esha chet parardha unikrita naiti bhakti sukambode paramanutulyam api. The bliss of Brahman realization, Brahmanando bhavet, accumulated by samadhi lasting for half of Brahma's life. Parardha unikrita. So Brahma lives for two halves, which are called dvipararth. First 50 years is called one pararth, and the next 50 years is called as the next pararth, dvipararth. So if somebody is in samadhi, in Brahmanand, for half of life of Brahma, what is Rupa Goswami saying? Naiti bhakti sukambode, cannot compare to one drop of ocean of the happiness of. So we also don't have this happiness derived from Shuddha Bhakti. We don't have this experience. Neither we have any experience of the Brahma Sukha. So, but we know that even in our stage, whatever stage we are, the happiness we derive in attending Kirtan, attending the festivals like Janmashtami, Radhashtami, the happiness in serving Vaishnavas, that happiness is quite distinct from the happiness of any experience, material happiness experience we have in this world. The meaning is that no matter how much the bliss of Brahman is increased, it can never compare with the bliss in the Jiva Swarup, the Bhakti Swarup. The bliss of the Jiva Swarup is natural. Since the bliss of Brahman is a particular type of happiness produced from actions contrary to the Jiva, that bliss is not natural. So it's like I was giving the example that person, he's come out of the ocean and sitting on the beach and basking in the sun. He's free from, no more birth, death, old age. He doesn't have a material body. Neither he has a spiritual body. The Jiva Swarup is that he has a spiritual body where he's serving Krishna. So ultimately, just sitting on the beach, what he's going to do? No action. But the Jiva, by nature, he is Satchidananda. He's looking for love, and that love should be for the Supreme. And when he serves the Supreme, then he experiences Sevanand. So there is the other ocean on the other side. And that is the ocean of the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the ocean of the Bhakti Sagar. So one has to dive in that, and there is only nectar and nectar in that service. That ocean expands. There is no birth, death, old age, disease in that, as in there in the Bhavasagar on the other side. So bliss is, this is not natural to the Jiva, the Brahmanand. So the reference again is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Tvat sakshad karnalada vishuddhabdi stitasya me sukani goshpadayante brahman api jagat guru. O Guru of the universe, Jagat Guru, on seeing you directly, Tvat Sakshat, I am situated in an ocean of pure bliss. Karan Allada Vishuddh Abdi Sitasya Me. All the happiness of impersonal Brahman is as insignificant as the water in the hoof print of a cow. Sukani Goshpadante, the hoof print of the cow, that Brahman happiness is. Now that I have, had your darshan, the bliss what I'm experiencing, it is completely, that's impersonal Brahman bliss is completely insignificant. So this is one reference in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is the second reference given from the Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya. There are many similar statements in the scriptures. For fear of enlarging the work, more verses are not quoted. So even I wanted to keep the subject matter short discussion and not discuss more in detail, because already it is there in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So this is regarding now the last characteristic we are going to discuss. Any questions, any clarification anyone has about Sandranand Visheshatma? Any questions? I'll have to charge my laptop. Give me a second. I'll have to connect my adapter. Yeah. So the last is just 2-3 slides. We will just go through that. Shri Krishna Akarshani. Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti attracts even Krishna and his associates. Not only Krishna, but his associates also get attracted. Please remember that. Bhakti attracts Krishna. Kritva harim prema bhajam priya varga samanvitam bhaktir vashikaroditi Shri Krishna Karshani Mata. Bhakti is called Shri Krishna Akarshani, Shri Krishna Akarshani Mata, because it makes the Lord addicted to prema. Prema Hari Bhakti, Kritva Harim Prema Bhajam, addicted to prema, and brings him under control along with his associates. Priya Varga Samanvita, Bhakti Vashikaroti. So, in prema, one who has prema in his heart, the devotee bhakta, he dances, and Bhagavan, for whom he has prema, Bhagavan also dances, and Bhakti Devi personified, she is also, there is Bhakt, Bhagavan, and Bhakti. All three are, in sync, you can say. The meaning is this: as long as pure bhakti does not arise during sadhana, one performs action with bhakti abhas. So this I was mentioning, that we pure bhakti doesn't arise in sadhana. Till then we are all performing bhakti abhas. In that condition, bhakti is hard to attain. When pure bhakti arises during sadhana, the actions of bhakti take on beauty. So we are still, not entered the school of bhakti. We are still in kindergarten. No, that is their LKG, UKG. We are not in first standard. The first standard means we have entered the school now. But before that is there, na? And before that nowadays, I don't know, there are some other things also, kindergarten to something, whatever, I don't know. So we are there. We have to enter in that stage of sadhana where we take up to Shuddha Bhakti. And then all the actions become real. The realization of the Jiva Siddha Swarup and the Lord's Siddha Swarup becomes prominent among the various beauties. So the Jiva's Swarup is revealed at the stage of Bhava, and Lord's Swarup is also revealed based on the contemplation and meditation, what he has done in Raghavana Sadhana, whether it is Vatsalya Ras, Sakya Ras, or Madhurya Ras. In Madhurya Ras, Krishna's Swarup will be that of a lover. And in Vatsalya, it will be like the parental affection, like the child. And in Sakya Ras, it will be like a friend. So Krishna will be seen as a friend. So his Swarupa will be also revealed to us. These are the beauties. In that bhakti, great attachment with longing arises, asakti. When that state of practice arrives, pure sadhana bhakti transforms into rati or bhava bhakti and finally prema. So when this stage arises, then pure sadhana bhakti transforms. So the sadhana bhakti has to be pure. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavrtam. Then this sadhana bhakti will transform into bhava bhakti, and then bhava bhakti will transform into prema bhakti. Or to make it clear, bhaktya bhas should become shuddha bhakti, sadhana stage, and sadhana bhakti, shuddha sadhana bhakti will lead to bhava bhakti and then prema bhakti. So we have to come to the point where we take up to sadhana bhakti, that is what? Unalloyed. Till then we are bhaktya bhas. We are practicing bhaktya bhas. In bhava condition, the bhakti attracts Krishna with his associates. But in prema, bhakti makes the devotee enjoy the highest rasa as a participant in Krishna's pastimes. In prema bhakti, the bhakta enters into Krishna's pastimes. This topic will be explained in detail later. So in Bhakti Tattva Vivek, this topic is not discussed in detail, but in other works like the Jaiva Dharma, quite in detail, these are discussed. So that is about Sri Krishna Akarshani. So in summary, Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes everything. Considering all this, the servant of the Vaishnavas of the universe has written 5 verses. This is his own verses. The servant of the Vaishnavas of the universe, Vishwa Vaishnava Das, that is the title Bhaktivinoda Thakur held. And he also formed the Vishwa Vaishnava Sabha. Vaishnava Sabha, forum of Vaishnavas, Vishwa, all over the world. And Prabhupada followed the mood of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and gave his society name International Society for Krishna Consciousness. See how much in the Guru Shish Parampara Prabhupada followed, Kleshagni Shubhada Bhaktir Yada Sa Sadhananvitak Atmika Hridaya Bhatta Jivanam Tatastha Lakshananvita. Bhakti has 3 stages: sadhana, bhava, and prema. Sadhana has 2 qualities: destruction of suffering and bestowal of auspicious. Kleshagni Shubhada Bhaktir. Sadhana Atmika. They manufacture, they are these are seen in the sadhana stage. Kleshagni Shubhada Mokshalaguta Kritsudurlabha Sa Bhaktir Bhavarupena Yavat Tishtati Chetasi. Bhava has 4 qualities: destruction of suffering, bestowal of auspiciousness, disregard for liberation, and rarity. Prema Rupa Yada Bhaktis Tada Tad Gunanvita Sandranand Visheshatma Shri Krishna Akarshani Chasa. Prema has 6 qualities. Destruction of suffering. As I was mentioning, that when one reaches prema, there is complete destruction happening. Bestowal of auspiciousness, disregard for liberation, rarity, intense bliss, and being attracted to Krishna. Muktanam eva sa shasvat swarupananda rupini sambandha swarupanityam rajate jiva Krishnayo. When the jiva is in the liberated state, Muktanam eva sa shashvat. Bhakti takes the form of pure bliss and eternal service. Swarupananda Rupini. Sambandha Swarup. Nityam. Rajate Jiva Krishna. Eternal service between Jiva and Krishna. So there is direct service happening in the spiritual body, because in Bhava Bhakti one Swarup is revealed and Krishna is also revealed. So there is rasa exchange happening between the Jiva and Krishna in the liberated state. Bhaktya bhasena ya labhya muktir maya nikrityani sa katam bhagavat bhakti samyam kangshati chetika. Liberation, which destroys the covering of the Jiva, is attained by Bhaktya bhas. Please hear this statement very carefully. Bhaktya bhasena ya labhya muktir maya nikritani. We also know that namaparad can take us maximum up till heaven, heavenly pleasure. We can go to Swarga. By namabhas, one can get any liberation. So by practicing Bhaktya bhas, Bhakti abhas, one can attain liberation. Only by Shuddha Bhakti, one can, Uttama Bhakti, attain Vraja Krishna in any of these 4 rasas. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya, and especially Madhurya. That liberation is one ordinary servant among many servants of Bhakti Devi. Sa katam bhagavat bhakti samanya kangshita chetika. How can she desire to be equal to Bhakti Devi? So that's how he addresses. So that ends chapter 3. And this is a very, very important chapter, qualification for Bhakti, Bhakti Adhikar. And this is Uttama Bhakti, which is having these 4 qualities. So what is the qualification to practice Uttama Bhakti? And very systematically and very elaborately, Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about the adhikar to practice Shuddha Bhakti. What is adhikar? And this subject matter, we will start our discussion from tomorrow. We will need 2 to 3 classes, and that will end the whole Bhakti Tattva Vivek discussion. Any questions, any clarifications up till now? Okay, so we'll stop here. Shri Bhakti Tattva Vivek ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda